I think one of the things that we can talk about today is how to address this question so that people who have homes, you know, how do you assist that person to do a major renovation that's energy efficient? And I know that we've had some conversations about this in the past, and one idea was, you know, you could take, for example, the city of Stamford, which, you know, does about 50 million in bonds a year, and you do a bonding dedicated towards upgrading people's homes, because sometimes these investments have 2-year paybacks or 3-year paybacks. And what you could do is, for people who don't have home equity lines of credit, you could have a special facility the city would bond, and let's say the bonding is at a 5% interest rate, or you're having to pay that back at a 5% interest rate. You could charge the homeowner a 6% interest rate, so that the city actually makes 1% on the money that it's doing. It then has a mechanism in place where people that are qualified within the city to go and do an assessment on your home, evaluate either replacing windows, replacing doors, or new insulation. That cost is then approved by the city. It's funded for the renovation, and then that person pays for that renovation over the course of 20 years through the tax bill. So you can advertise it during the course of 20 years because the city's bonding for 20 years. And the nice thing about that is that it doesn't matter if you're going to be selling your house in a year from now or if you're going to be keeping your house, because it's just going to be a part of your tax base going forward. So you're free to sell the house without being coming with those bills. So if you're incentivized to go ahead and take that loan from the city will be responsible for making sure that it's working with the right contractors. The contractors can't be paid by the size of the project because you don't want to incentivize them to do more than they have to do. You want to do what's prudent. You know, and so the city evaluates the project, then funds the investment, and then you basically just collect an extra tax for that investment. But you can demonstrate financially in a spreadsheet that that person is going to be saving about $200 a month in the wintertime alone. So that, you know, that person's happy because they're immediately saving money. The city's happy because it's reducing energy consumption, right? It's making a percent on its loan. So you can structure things in ways that can become win-win situations for everybody.
And I think that's important is for people to be creative in these times, you know, like when you're coming up with new things to do and ways to get things done.
Right. And
we're actually looking at financing through customer bills as well, so that it'll be a little bit of a help for folks to go and get things done as well. It's still in the early stages, but
there is a loan program in place already that goes along with the audit, and if they qualify as a 0 interest right now, it's a great loan program. So, but you know, as far as bonding goes, that would be more helpful too.
Then it's anybody.
Yeah.
Then it's the house. You know, then you're looking at making the house more efficient. I mean, it doesn't matter who owns it or, you know.
Yeah. So, but there is one in place with the program. There's a lot that goes into the program. And an average house will go out and we're there for 4 hours with 3 people, and we're going through everything we want.
That's great.
Not only with the blower door, but we're doing true flow tests on the HVAC system, duct blaster, and everything. So we're getting well with the money. Fairfield, the town of Fairfield's getting it for free right now. So,
That's great.
Larry, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Derek could clean up, since you've already spoken a little bit.
All right. Well, Lawrence, the businessman, we look at plants to combine heat and power plants, increasing the efficiencies. We've been working with payments for emissions already since 2001. So we've been working in an environment where there's a big debate in the country where if we force people to go green, it's going to cost so much that it's going to destroy businesses. Well, we've been doing this now in Europe since 2001. We're experiencing that pressure, and it is making us change. It is making it difficult. It is taking away margins, but it is forcing us to adapt in really neat ways. So we have a coal-fired plant in Poland. We've completely renovated, upgraded it. We're now doing a partial conversion to natural gas, and we're looking to go waste to energy. In other words, we're going to try to start to reduce the amount of landfill that we use in Europe. We're going to take waste, we're going to separate it, and we're going to start to use that for energy. It's not the best way. The best way would be to have a really good recycling program where you could actually take those products and reuse them as opposed to burning them for energy, but it's an intermediate step. We also have a facility in Singapore where we're taking food waste from restaurants. All the food waste is collected, they're put into digesters, and they're broken down, they produce methane. Methane is CH4, it's the same thing that you buy in terms of your natural gas, except it's not as pure. Methane that you buy from the gas company is 98% pure, this is about 60% pure, but you can clean it. And you can use compressed biogas, which is 100% made from bioorganic decomposing matter, to power fleets of buses that have virtually, well, in terms of soot emissions, very little. And of course, a lot less in terms of your CO2 emissions as well. So we're doing some stuff like that. We are also building some run-of-the-river hydros in places like China and in India. We have a sugarcane ethanol facility in the Philippines. I'm not a big fan of the ethanol product. And then as a person, I try to think of the way that I live like Kung Fu, you know, where you don't want to leave a footprint. So I'm very conscientious of this well-to-wheel concept. If you look at a product that you buy, try to figure out where it started and where it's going to end up. If you're buying something that's made from plastic, you know, it's probably an oil-based product. It's then going to go into a landfill. It's not very, you know. So if you can look at your own life and try to reduce your own consumption, I think that goes a long way. So I've actually started to slowly convert my backyard into a vegetable garden. I'm hoping to produce more to share with my neighbors, and hoping to convince my neighbors to then maybe grow something else. Because then if I don't have to buy those produce in the supermarket, then that truck that's bringing it up from Florida isn't using that diesel to bring it up to my grocery store, which then has to pay for the refrigeration of that product and so on. So I think there's a lot of I see, I was very pessimistic in the past about where we were going with all of this, and I was very demoralized. And I think there's an old proverb that says that when the caterpillar thought that things couldn't get any worse, it turned into a butterfly. So I've got 2 children, and I have to be hopeful that we're going to do the right thing. We've got huge forces that are against us. The industrial military complex, the oil companies. This is a capitalist society. It's not a democratic society. And so we do have forces that are going to protect their interests. But I think people need to realize that a lot of scientists today are saying that we've gone beyond the tipping point. So we don't have the luxury anymore of really debating whether this is economically good for us or not. If we don't do something about it, we are witnessing today some of the greatest extinctions that the Earth has witnessed since we've recorded history. We've got over 75% of the amphibian species are dying off, and flowering plants, 50% of that have died off. So it's clear that we're losing species on the planet, and this debate there has to be something that's going to snap. I think a lot of the anger that you're seeing in the world right now is, I think a lot of people are sensing that there is an urgency. We don't really know how to explain the situation, but maybe there's a feedback from Mother Earth telling us that we need to wake up a little bit. So that's what motivates me.